Orleans Talk Network, now on your mobile device, on your computer, in your ear, and interactive. It's new, it's innovative, and it's on your mobile device. Android, iPhone, iPad, and on your computer. Take us wherever you go. Because we're interactive. 504-341-TALK. That's 504-341-8255.
This is Congressman Cedric Richmond, and you're watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Joe Lapinto, and you are watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
Well, hello there. It's Bob's Variety Hour. It's the first Wednesday of December 2018. Everyone's in a holiday spirit coming off of Thanksgiving and approaching the Christmas season at the end of the month. So if you followed us in Facebook, you know that we announced that we're dedicating the entire month to visual delights. And by that I mean we will be doing nothing but R-tist Revue all month. So if you're a devotee of one of the other shows, not you're not a devotee of all of our shows, but if you follow, you're looking specifically for the Caro lady, Robin Denon will return in January, but she's giving her a well-deserved rest and bringing in artists from around the world, which is important. For those who are attempting to follow us on Facebook this morning live, there has been a little technical problem. That's why we're running a little late. You might not see us all on Facebook this morning until after the show. Mike advises us that if you can't resolve it, he will resolve it before the end of the show and then reload the show. So it'll come on at 9 a.m. on Central Time on Facebook. You'll see it, the same show, but you'll see it after the fact, and we apologize for that. But we're live on YouTube, and we're also live on our network. If you want to go to our website, NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com, and the home page, you'll see live streaming, you'll see the show as well. So if you can shift gears, if you're not exclusive Facebook, you can still see us live, which of course is what our preferred way for you to watch and hear the artist. But as you know, you can see it anytime in our archives if the morning show is not available or convenient for you to watch. Okay, as we mentioned, we will have artists for the rest of the month. And we want to go ahead and welcome our artist today, and comes from the faraway Asian area of Bali, Indonesia. And the gentleman is, I call it, and he hopefully agrees, a surrealistic painter, which, if you're not familiar with that term, we will certainly enhance that education with the pictures and maybe some text. But meanwhile, let's go ahead and welcome to the show Olivier Lamboray. Good morning, Olivier. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Bob. I'm fine, thank you.
We love that French accent, even though we wouldn't associate it necessarily with Indonesia, but that's our lack of education, I guess.
I do speak French then. This is why the accent is coming.
But I know the ladies in the audience are going to love it because, you know, it falls back on our French roots in founding New Orleans by the lovely gentleman by the name of Napoleon, who was kind enough to pay off his debts and sell us to the Americans. Anyway, why don't we start? We always like to get to know the artist a little bit. Why don't we first tell us a little bit about your personal background, and then we'll have our we have one big question, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at your work. Tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Well, I'm 50 years old. Some days ago, I've been painting since 92.
Wow.
It's been a while, and I always stick to surrealism.
What?
I really like it. Lots of freedom, and I really find myself into it. And the more I go, the deeper I dig, the more interesting it becomes. It's just fantastic work. I love it.
Good. Now, we're going to touch a little bit more on that. But how long have you been in Indonesia?
Well, I arrived here in 94. I was traveling a lot. Pardon. And I kept traveling. I lived 6 years in Thailand, and then I settled here permanently in 2003 when I get married to my ex-wife, a Balinese woman. And since that time, we have a daughter, and she's 10 years old now, and life goes on. Time is flying. It's been here now. I don't really count the years, but it's been something like here, maybe all of it, 16 or 17 years.
Got it. Now let's talk specifically about the art. Let's go ahead. When did you first notice that you felt you were going to be a painter, or you wanted to be involved in that regard, as opposed to just being a voyeur, an observer like myself?
Well, I never thought about being a painter. Since I was a child, I wanted to be a clown, and I kept this desire, or this idea till maybe I was 15 or 16.
Okay.
And by the time I grew up, then I thought, maybe being an actor would have been more interesting, more wider horizon. So I was really into acting and stuff, but coming from a very traditional family, my father is a doctor. I was not allowed to go into art, and I was pushed into science or scientific studies. So I was really much into mathematics and physics.
Got it.
Until the age I was 22. And this is where I said, this is enough. I can't take this no more. And I moved then to advertising, creation.
Okay.
This is where I start holding pens and colors and brushes and stuff.
Sure.
And the commercial side of this advertising process was really blocking the creativity, I thought.
I totally.
And I didn't find myself into it. But by the time I start painting, and it's within the painting that I really found my freedom, and I could do whatever I want and not have to satisfy some kind of commercial patterns or something, which I really loved it. And I kind of stopped advertising after 2-3 years, and really moved on only painting.
Well, this
is 92.
It was a good stepping stone, but I totally agree. I love advertising from the point of being able to visualize something and take it into the real. Now, I can't write or draw. I mean, I can write, but and I can create concepts, but I can't physically translate directly myself to that thing. So I would be better in that mode than yourself, because you have the talent to be able to go to the real creativity part, and that's taking your vision and putting it on some form of tangible information. So I really admire any artist, because I think they are, a real tribute to our culture, to our whole society, to bringing life and joy, hopefully, and education to so many people. The education is just phenomenal. So this is it now. Let's go ahead. Do you have, for the folks, for those who are in art, they know the word surrealism, and I throw out perhaps a prototype of surrealism, or certainly the one who gets the most, and that's the name Salvador Dali. Anyone who knows who that person is, or any of his works, knows that that's like what's sterilized as the epitome of surrealism. Rightfully or wrongfully, he is ingrained in that mode. Can you tell us what you consider your definition, if there's such, of surrealism to you?
Well, coming from Belgium, we have some Belgian surrealists, very, very well known, like Magritte or Delvaux.
Oh, yes.
We are much more traditional, or not as wild as would be the Spanish culture. The Belgium, we're much more like a gray country.
Right.
We live more inside. We are more settled, I would say. So the surrealism is a different kind of vision or imagination. We are more settled, I should say. We always compare or associate surrealism with Dali, which it's fantastic work, but it's really much more. Dali is so much personal. I can
Right.
truly see why Spain is the influence. It's for the music, the colors, the sun, everything. It's related in his work, which we don't have in Belgium. This is why Belgium surrealists are much more classical.
That's what I was going to. I think you I think you hit it right on the nose, and I never knew it was the environment that actually formulated that. Okay, I thought it was just the individuals, but what you're telling me, obviously the Spanish being so passionate, so about everything, like you say, about color, about everything, big, over the top, and that certainly was Dali. But that doesn't mean everyone has to be judged by that. They have to have that same lifestyle, and I think I use the word controlled, which is not nearly as good as your word of classical. The classical movement is certainly epitomized in your work, and hopefully what you're saying, surrealists of your area or territory or country, to show that difference, that there is a difference. It's not everything with clocks hanging on trees and stuff like that. But anyway, so I think you did a great job because like I said, I've always noticed the difference, but never sat down to think about, well, why is it different? Why are these so more structured and this so much flamboyant or out of pushing the envelope? And that probably is based on their lifestyle and their upbringing.
I would have to say that it's the roots. It's really the influence you get from your childhood, the things you see on the daily life, the things you see in the museums around you and all this. And this is so much, even if you, as an artist, you try to avoid external influences, but these things are deeply rooted inside us since I was a kid or something. So
I understand.
I also try to run away from it, but you can't hide from yourself. This is part of who we are. So we have to accept it and go with it. And I think it's really interesting then. Again, it makes it very personal.
Again, very well said. Okay, unfortunately, we're late. I enjoyed the discussion because we did a little bit more than we usually, but we wanted to get that definite understanding from before we actually see your work of why there is perhaps a noticeable difference between one and another. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break. We do 2 of them. We come back and we actually going to start hitting it hard with the first set of paintings. Okay, see you on the other side, audience.
Perfect.
Listeners are as important as our guests. Join in on the conversation. 504-341-8255, the New Orleans Talk Network.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson. And can you believe that it has been 1 year since Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions hit your airwaves? We have interviewed authors, entrepreneurs, playwrights, musicians, and everyone in between, all to bring you the best in literary conversation. And we plan to do it again this year, but only better. So join us right here in the Literary Lounge each Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on the New Orleans Talk Network. See you there.
We're back. Talk What You Know returns on Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. We got a brand new co-host by the name of Bob B. And hey, that's me. Also, we got some new features. We're going to be giving away, have a weekly raffle of prizes. There are multiple ways for you to win, and there's a bevy of prizes. So we need you to come on back, join us on Wednesday mornings at 8 o'clock for Talk What You Know on the New Orleans Talk Network.
Now New Orleans has a choice. Download the New Orleans Talk Network app for your mobile device or listen at www.neworleanstalknetwork.com.
Okay, folks, we're back at Bob's Variety Hour, and as we mentioned, we're doing R-tist Revue the entire month. We're privileged to bring to you, if you've seen the first part of the show, a Belgian artist who actually resides in Bali, Indonesia, and he's a surrealist, which we went into a little bit of an explanation. His name is Olivier Lamboray. And Olivier, let's go ahead and hit it hard now. We ended the definition of surrealism with the word, in your style, classical. And to me, this first painting is not surrealistic. It is a classic. It is almost like a religious painting, almost like what we'd call a holy card. The framing is just magnificent as well. But let's focus and tell us about this really beautiful subject. Very, very pristine, very simple. Tell us, please, about it.
Well, the influence is really much about the. I really like architecture, and I have been traveling a lot with trains and in Southeast Asia, and these two elements are really important in my work. Architecture is fantastic. It's really it's one art that I really love. It's so rich and vast and it's magnificent. So I can't deny the influence of this architecture everywhere I go. When I go back to Belgium or other cities, it blows my eyes. And the train always brings some kind of
I think
romantic.
Olivier, we're talking. First painting we're showing the audience is almost like a picture of Dali. Not Dali, the Dalai Lama. I'm not sure who is the thing. This has nothing to do with architecture. So we're off track.
Well, this is a very recent work, and somehow I thought, as an artist, we do have a voice, and instead of maybe using my canvas or the colors to do this kind of romantic eau de rose painting stuff, I thought maybe I could also use my voice to talk about things that are important to me, like more maybe political, but this is really new. And the Dalai Lama painting is standing on Chinese tanks, army tanks, and is really reflecting the invasion of Tibet by the Chinese.
Okay.
And that the media is not talking about too much. And he's holding a baby in his hands.
Right.
And it's the power of life over the power of greed, basically.
I see.
And it's the life, the baby that he carries goes really beyond time, and it's this essence of life. And the greed is just like trying to climb this mountain, but it's just standing on it because these guys are untouchable. You can burn their libraries and all this, but
right.
I don't know. These guys, they're beyond our world.
Yeah, you can't destroy the spirit. What about the frame? I'm intrigued by the frame.
The train?
The frame.
The frame.
I'm sorry.
It's Chinese newspaper cuts.
Beautiful.
That really it's surrounding the blueness of the Dalai Lama area. And it's surrounded because I heard in Tibet now they have all these Chinese inscriptions on the walls, in the streets, on the shops, and it's everywhere.
Well,
so it's really surrounding them.
Yeah,
I put some red dots that reflects the blood that is spilled.
Right. I wanted to bring this one first because it was so different than the majority of the work we're showing today. So to me, I would not call this surrealism, even though that may be something of my lack of information, but just a magnificent piece. It just really stood out to me because of the contrast of the colors with the frame, etc. But we need to move on because we're way behind now with the show. The next one we're looking at is a lovely young lady, perhaps your daughter, from the rear, and she's observing numerous flying objects. I love this. So what do we have here, sir?
Do you have any title? Because I can't see the painting.
No, I don't have the title, sir.
What is the...
It's the young lady at the beach looking from her rear, sun hat, and there's a flying elements. There's a kite. Is it a dog, an animal over the top right corner? Two globes.
Is there
and someone in the water.
On the top?
I'm sorry?
Is there a polar bear on the top? Swimming in the sky?
Are you following the same format? Remember, I sent you the ones on Facebook, and we're going left to right on those. That's why I'm saying. That's why I tell you it's so important to keep that order.
Sorry, I didn't.
I can't see what that.
I did. Please give me a second then.
It's as a polar bear. Mike is saying is in it. We don't have too much time to keep dwelling on this. We need to get them in that order.
All right. Okay, I got you. There's a polar bear.
Right.
I got
a young lady with a sun hat looking up. There's a kite, a striped kite.
The title is Until We Wake Up, and it's about climate change. It's the polar bear is looking at us. We below the sea horizon. We might have sunk, and this boat is floating. It's reflecting the wind that is power like we have in hurricanes and all this.
Sure.
And there is a bar at the hand. The woman is holding on a bar, and it's all written with words. And he said, "What are we going to tell them?" And the idea of the painting was this baby is sleeping there under the blanket of the ocean,
right.
and this pelican is there to protect him, and he doesn't want him to wake up because what the future that he's holding is ahead of him. It's not always so bright. It's about climate changes and about our responsibilities toward our children.
Okay.
What are we going to tell them?
Let's move on. Let's move on. Now the next one is got one piece that's in a couple of the others. A large and long clock. This one has beautiful pink sky with clouds. There's a cat or dog looking up at perhaps a UFO, of which a globe is coming out. It's again a beach side, and then some bathers with magnificent headpieces, mask, and also another globe, the Earth in the back.
It's the wonders of creation. It's like where this is all coming from. Is it the universe, or is it the imagination, or the creation in the work? It's just like it's ethereal, or it's subtle, or it's like beyond time. It's the things we can't really explain. People ask me about inspiration. Where does it coming from? You know, it's like these things keep coming down on us. So this is the idea. Like we play around, and all these things we don't really have control of. Like the moon is there. There's a big planet there in the sky. Right. Mysteries of the universe.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, now the next one is one of my personal favorites. And this one, it's a little busy, but I love it because it has a contemporary, well, first of all, the most noticeable, the giant partially eaten donut with the In-N-Out burger behind it, and a knight in the center, and a structure, some of your architecture on the right. And this is really, and the colors are so vibrant. The darks, the brights against the darks. It's contrast. It's just a lot. Tell us a little bit about this one, please.
Well, the title is a serial killers. It's a water tower that is in Belgium.
Okay.
But people don't drink water anymore. We've been invaded by the sugar industry, and this donut is the sugar. It's just like melting and crawling on the tower. It's melting. It's going on the floor. It's all about this junk food we've been surrounded with. And this McDonald's sign is dripping some oil. Right. And the title is the serial killers. This is where we are now. And the knight in the middle is the Pope. It's the Pope Francis. It's the
I see it now close.
Yes, it's the power of the religion that comes like from 2,000 years ago, and these guys still wage their wars and stuff. Not them, but we still in these religious wars and stuff. So the title is the serial killers.
I love it. I really love it. Now, before we go to the next one, another truly good one. Most of your work is done on canvas. We didn't ask. With acrylics, oils, what is your predominant media composition?
Oh, I work with acrylic paintings on linen canvas.
On canvas. Always. Linen canvas. Yes. I see. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, the next one is, again, another startling one, and that's where a young lady is... let's see, what does she have here? She has...
She's blowing. It was for my daughter's 10th birthday. And the title is, I see you growing so fast and I wish I could stop the time.
Perfect. So a hummingbird coming out of the magnificent alarm clock, and she blowing. It looks like blowing instead of bubbles. She's blowing the numbers of or unless she's sucking it in, the numbers of the hours.
Oh, or the years of the birth, the
I got
candles
it.
that
Oh, okay, of course.
they put on the cake.
Of
Yeah.
course. And what,
it's what is the name? The dandelion she's blowing.
okay.
She's kind of making wishes through the years.
I got it. Now, would this be would this be? I know you said it's in honor of her birthday. Would this be a good representation of her? It's a beautiful young lady.
Well,
no, not so much.
Probably yes. It might be symbolic. It's not her, but it's very symbolic.
Symbolic.
That's for sure.
Well, I think you did a great job. It's very pristine. Love the colors, and I think not whimsical, but certainly appealing to the younger as well as the adult in us. So I really like it a lot. Very, very nice. All right, now we do need to move on again a little bit more. Let's see if we can. I'm having trouble. Why don't we do this? Why don't we go ahead and wait? Let's see. Now I got it. Okay, now this one is similar to one we had a little earlier. It's framed, and we have, of course, a young lady, an adult, who's half unwrapped, staring at the painting with the universe behind her, and again the polar bear up at the ceiling.
Yes, it's called Out of the Blue.
Out of the Blue, very nice.
The magic of life when suddenly a woman appears and it's, out of the blue, and you got seduced. My dog is there.
Yes,
and
I see
my
the
dog
dog.
I always paint my dog in blue, and she's also intrigued by this woman coming into her life.
Well, you have a
and it's a
go ahead.
full moon behind for the romance part of it.
Right.
And even the polar bear is wondering. He said, "Oh wow, this beautiful lady coming out of the sea." Yeah.
Just a side commentary to the painting and your statement about your dog. We have of course, we lost him a couple of years ago, a very famous native painter to Southwest Louisiana, George Rodriguez. And he made famous the blue Chihuahua. He called it the blue dog, but it was always blue. And then he started going to other variations people would copy. So it's interesting you had both went along the same lines with regard to coloring the animal, an unusual color. Okay, kind of continuing with the picture before, we have a young lady on a swing from and the alarm clock and some folk. Why don't you tell us about this one? What is it called?
Well, it's called Losing Your Innocence. And it's like, you see the chain of the swing is breaking.
It's breaking,
So she's kind of, it's really about my daughter. She's going from childhood to teenager. And she's kind of, all these dreams of a child are falling apart. And she's kind of falling on the ground and have a vision of her life. And this little girl there with a tricycle, she's facing this big clock, but it's open. It's a universe inside, and she has the whole world in front of her. It's a passage from
from childhood to
teenage
to pubescence. Very good, very good. Okay, let's move it on again a little bit because we are now. This one is interesting as well because again, you're framing. You're doing a wonderful job with the framing, and especially the way you're playing the colors against each other to make it much more painting-centric. Now, this one is a young lady or an adult with, unfortunately, she's lost her head. And
it's about communication, the new world. This telephone is it's an old age. We used to. I have to explain to my daughter that we had phones attached to a wall with a line.
Right.
And we were so unfree. And this is like the new world now with this connection.
Right.
And all these dots, this is the number of the telephone. They go into the universe. It's the data. And it's going outside of the frame. So it was very interesting to extend the painting within the frame.
I've never seen, I've seen gallery wrap where they extend the painting around the sides, but not into the mat or to the, just phenomenal. I don't know if there's a term for that, but that's the first time I have to admit that I've seen it, and I think it's very effective. Very, very effective.
Yes, I really like it. It's synthetic grass.
Is that what it is? Synthetic grass. What is the, on the very left in the synthetic grass at the bottom, there's a silver is that a button? I can't figure.
Well, you know, on this old telephone, we had this old telephone.
Oh, the
You put the
coins?
coins.
That's for the
would
coin
put
slot.
Yes, you know, push for coins. When the coins goes down
Right.
and it's not swollen by the machine, it goes out there.
Well, what's good? This is great education for our youngsters, not only your daughter, because it's very, very authentic, but in such a whimsical fashion that anyone would be willing to learn a little bit. If you try and tell them, well, this is what we had, they would just dismiss you immediately as being, you know, going with the wind. Old time, who cares? We don't want to know that. I think this would be.
She said.
This
She
would be.
can't believe. She keeps telling me, but how did you do with no phone and stuff?
Right.
And,
At least it brings the inquiry. Like I say, most of them will shut you down right away if you try and talk about. I don't want to hear about that trash shit or whatever it is. It doesn't make any sense to them. Here, you're bridging that gap. You're getting their curiosity into something that they normally would not even think of or want to know about, and that's truly remarkable. And I applaud you on that. Let's move on now again, because we're going to come to our next break, and we're not even halfway through. Now, this is, again, kind of a monumental piece that's scaled back down with a replica of a ship under a bridge and a gentleman with a... Go ahead.
It's a Pershing Square in New York. It's a bridge that goes over Pershing Square at the Central
Terminal, it says,
Yes, it's a New York painting, and it's the rising sea. Because there's the seas rising, the climate changes.
Right.
So the boat has been left. You know, it's all about this. We see these tsunamis, and these boats end up like 1 mile inland.
Right.
This is the feeling. This is the seas rising, and we are facing all these things. The big fish is flying, and the title is "Freedom is a Mental State." And the guy is an aquarium or a fish bowl.
Fish bowl, right. I love that.
And behind it is a blue fish that was supposed to be in the fish bowl, but he's outside. The fish is outside the bowl. Because
I love it.
Freedom is a mental state. You know, it's just like you got to take up your freedom. It's mental. It's not physical.
Right.
This is what's the meaning of it.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, this really conveys a lot. I mean, and then of course the other fish. There's a large like goldfish above the globe, so that's flying above the globe. So it's really remarkable. I think it's again a statement on our times, but just really well done. Okay, now the next one gets much more simplistic again, not surrealistic, but in a much more well, you use I say structured form. Beautiful frame with the black bringing out just some almost ghost-like structure individuals in front of. Some rock structure and great coloring and great look. What is this, sir?
Well, it's a statue from the Vietnam War Memorial.
I certainly saw it, but I wasn't sure.
These are the three guys, and it's this Agent Orange. They were spreading all over Vietnam.
Okay, very well.
And it's melting on them, and they are touched by them, and they become gray, where the orange stuff is going, because even the soldiers have been victims of this.
Of course.
So this is what I wanted to represent, you know, all these atrocities of wars and the things we've done.
Really well.
Vietnam was terrible.
Really well done. Well, again, now the next one is one of my top three. I tell you that my first one, this one is just so dynamic, and it's the magnificent portrait of a young lady. And one section of her face has a globe, the other has an arm reaching out to, I'm not sure. So tell me, beautiful black trim and a black background, very stark.
I think it's all about love. It's the title is "Call Me, I'm on the Moon," and it's just, you know,
I love it.
You see this person and you fall in love immediately. It's just like, you know, these things happen. This may be one way to show it. All the rest is disappearing. It's just the basically it's the smile. The lip is a bit pulled on one side.
Right.
It's kind of a slightly naughty smile,
right,
and a very deep look. And she got me straight into the heart.
Absolutely.
Call me, I'm yeah.
Love it. I mean, it is really, as you say, very puncturing. I mean, it just really goes right through you, this particular thing, because it's like she's staring through you to something behind you. It's just that remarkable. It's just such an intense stare. It's just fantastic. Really great. All right, we're going to do one more, then we have to take our break because we're running late. And again, this is really way out there for folks. We've got an astronaut leading his burrow down the sand. Tell us. Okay.
A picture.
Into a zebra. Technology problems this morning with Facebook, but hopefully we're going to have that resolved for our Facebook devotees.
The train station and all the details. This takes a lot of time. Print it, which allows me to use this base and create other stories that I had to put aside. This is why you have sometimes the same decor, but I can put many different stories in it while reprinting, printing this base.
You've explained it a lot. Yeah, you've explained it a lot better than I did. So that's what's great. Let's focus on the first one here. So we see the train station, as we say, that's going to be the common core element in all of the 5 paintings. But let's talk about what I'm calling the right half, the middle there. What is the story here line on this train station?
Well, it's the invisible nets of the past. It's all these things we came from, and like the train station is very old also.
Right.
And I put the telephone booth there.
Because we're going to a little different. This to me has a lot.
Village.
But do you?
I can't really know. I want to move on with the faces. I want to get out of this physical stuff, and I'm experiencing this guy with his telephones on his head.
Now,
this one is a bubble gum, and it's more like trying out different things and see what will work. It's all about fun. It's a childhood. This is my village.
Caroling, but please, Olivier.
Well, this is a street view. This is in a building in New York.
Okay.
And I paint this a lot in the beginning of Belgium street views. And I felt really oppressed by this big wall in front of me, and it was limiting myself, and I knew there was many things happening behind these windows and these doors and all behind this facade of the building. So I started to open them and see what's happening behind, and it brought a feeling of the impermanence or the time frame, where now there is a building there, but before there was just the sea and the mountain, before civilization and stuff. This is it's kind of complex to explain, but this is the impermanence and in the time frame space.
Okay. Well, we need
something like that.
We need to move forward. So the next one is definitely reminiscent of a New York skyline, but then train.
It's a city life, and this woman, her husband is in the bar on the left. It's a homage to a hopper, and she's dreaming. So all these buildings around her are evaporating, and she's looking at the horizon. She has a glass door, and she's dreaming. Basically, this is it.
I got it. Very nice, very nice. Now, the next one, let's see if I can get it, is again the second in what we call in this series of 5, whereby we have the Victorian train structure for past.
Duck head. Right. And these 4 ladies are from the 60s. They were using this big, rubber mask from Carnival or something.
Exactly.
And they were dancing on the beach. It's all about happiness and summertime.
Exactly.
And my dog even has a balloon next to him full of colors, because my dog is also in the playtime.
Right.
Now, if you have a minute, on the left side, we have these 2 Guatemaltec cowboys, which reflect the immigration movement from Central America to America.
You see that I lost totally. I saw the 2 cowboys. I kept saying, now this looks incongruous to this whole thing. I don't understand the placement of such. So now you just...
These guys these guys from Guatemala, because I was in Guatemala once. I was very surprised to see indigenous Indians dressed with cowboy hats.
With cowboys.
This was so much of a contrast.
I also have traveled in Guatemala and knowing, I guess it's the Mayans, or the Aztec, Mayans.
Yeah, but they all have these cowboy hats.
They all have the cowboy hats. You're 100% the farmers, and but it's just indigenous to it. They all have them. It's just amazing because you wouldn't expect to see usually a shorter stature person, dark color, big, large nose, and then they have a cowboy hat. So it was really an interesting kind of dichotomy to see that, and I just didn't understand how it was placed here. Now we're going on to another one where we again have buildings, but they're right on the and the skyline in the back, but right on the water. Where is this, please, sir?
This is in New York. This is Manhattan Island behind. The sea has risen. Everybody is gone. It's a climate change again. But this guy, the title is Yes, I Am a Dreamer. This guy is not leaving. He's enjoying the peace of the place that has been deserted by the people because of the climate change. And he's looking at this skyline in the back where all this bustling city is, and he has this very comfortable seat there on his deck, and he's enjoying this peace.
Right.
I love this. This is what I really like about cities. You watch them from far away, and you enjoy the peace, and you see all this bustling stuff everywhere, these lights, and it's some kind of magic.
Right. But my next one is one of my top three. As I tell you, I had three. This is certainly rises it out for me. This is a beautiful Victorian structure with a cupola and all, that 4 stories high, in water, that's kind of fading into oblivion. But what's magnificent about it is a young lady climbing the floating staircase that goes up into the building. Tell us, really like this one. It speaks a lot to me.
It's a piano step. The title is Listening to Your Love. It's a melody of love. And there's a guy there on the first floor, and the window is a standing guy, and he's kind of waiting for her. It's the romance part. They're gonna get together. She's on his way to him, and he's waiting. He's listening to her love.
Right.
There again, the sea has risen, and there's only one building left in the landscape.
Okay.
Even the moon is down there on the beach.
I noticed.
The
moon is right down on the beach. Easy to ascertain. Very nice. I really like the complexity of that one. Now our last two are the finale of the one that we've been talking about, where we maintain the core structure and tell a different story on the other half. Let's do these next two, and this is really bringing it together because we really know it. Before, we might not have known that was definitely a train station because there's no train. But now the train is in presence, and we have other creatures here. I mean, we have I don't know if that's a cougar, a spotted leopard, and it's done in natural color. No blue animals here. Tell us about it. What's happened?
Well, my blue dog is next to me on the beach there, close to the sea.
I see, way in the back.
It's called New Horizon. It's when you move to another country. The guy is me. I'm taking my train, and I'm settling my chair and my desk there on the table with my suitcases, and I'm enjoying this new view. But in these new territories, let's say, we have this kind of different things. This cheetah is walking along.
Yeah.
It's not always as paradisiac as we think.
Very good, very good. Okay, we're coming up to
two sides.
All right, now we do our last one, and of course we bring it home to New Orleans with our favorite. We call it a streetcar, but it's probably called a trolley car here. Tell us about this again, the finale one on the railroad station.
Well, the title is called Nueva Vida. It's again this Guatemaltec guy there. He's standing next to the train station. There's a blue giraffe coming out of the door.
Yes.
And it's these guys, they're going for the El Dorado, and they bring their dreams and their their hopes and stuff, and here they are.
And what about the transparent person?
That could be. It's a dreamer.
Okay.
And all is written is freedom. And the transfer guy is made dreams and stuff. My website is olamboray.com.
Okay, so that's O for Olivier Lamboray, spelled Lamboray. So that's one word. Is there any punctuation? It's O Lamboray, one word?
No, it's one word.
Okay.
Yeah, olamboray.com.
.com?
Yes.
So it's www.olamboray.com, your website,
Yes.
right?
Okay.
But you're on Facebook under your name, is that right, or some other way?
That's correct. Yeah.
Under Olivier Lamboray. So, and he has a lot of these pieces on there as well. You can buy from him directly. He's, as you can see, a very talented artist, and something that really delighted me a lot because I don't see much surrealism lately.
Thank you, Bob.
And it really piqued my interest. So I was so pleased when he accepted our invitation to come on. All right, folks. Anything else you want to tell the folks before we go? Because, like I said, unfortunately, we're running out of time.
Well, I would like to thank you, Bob, for your invitation. It was a great time and nice talk. Thank you so much.
Well, you were very sweet. Remember, folks, he is at a substantially different time than we are. What time is it there in your country?
11 p.m.
11 p.m. So he's past his 90-night. He stayed up late for us. We're only 9 o'clock in the morning. Thank you. Have pleasant dreams. Merry Christmas. I don't know how you all celebrate it, but I'm sure you did some way. Love to your family, and hopefully we'll be talking soon. Thank you again for coming on.
Thank you so much, Bob.
Okay, folks.
Have a nice day.
Appreciate it. Okay, folks, it's the beginning of the month of December and our R-tist Revue. Catch us next week.
Our listeners are as important as our guests. Join in on the conversation. 504-341-8255. The New Orleans Talk Network.